All right, we have voicemails you can listen to. You go to anchor.fm/the CU podcast, and you can leave us a short message if you can. Be like, hey, I'm John from Pork Roll USA.
Pork Roll USA.
And here's a question about Taylor ham. Like that's all you got to do. All right, the first one here is from Ray Lynn.
Hey, Pat and Ian. This is Ray Lynn from Canada. I just had two quick questions, one for Pat and Ian and one for just Pat. For Pat and Ian, is it necessary to put your games inside little plastic containers if they're loose? I keep all my N64 games inside a box and didn't know if I need to invest in plastic protectors. And for just Pat alone, why aren't you using an N64 flash cart for a certain Nintendo 64 guidebook instead of emulation? Thanks for the podcast.
All right, we'll do your okay. So, do you need to put stuff in plastic protectors? You don't necessarily need to do it if it's safe in a box somewhere and you're not jostling around. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I typically did not. I used to just keep my, like, for instance, my Game Boy games. I used to just keep them all loose in a big like lunchbox. Eventually, I alphabetized them, but I generally don't worry about it. Because of working at the store, I think anytime I touch a cartridge, anytime
we've been doing that this episode.
Yeah, anytime I touch a cartridge, I just instinctively grab a Q-tip and clean it because that's just what I do. I always clean my cartridges, so I don't see the need to put like them in like the plastic protectors. I don't use boots. I didn't use sleeves really with my NES games. I know that's probably sacrilege to some people, but I just never saw the fucking point.
They're nice to have. They look cute. The little Nintendo sleeves. They're adorable. Remember I bought a ton from Treg?
Yes.
And bought too many and I sold a bunch because I was trying at one point I wanted a sleeve for every NES cartridge. So I said, all right, Treg, I'll buy like, what do you got? He's like, I got 250, 300. I bought them all. And I was like, oh shit, I bought like 150 too much. But then I ended up selling them eventually. I like conventions and stuff. That's SoCal. Second question. Oh, why are we using emulators? Because there's like 20 different writers, first of all. So then it comes down to, okay, you got to get a flash cartridge to every writer. You got to make sure they have the hardware. How do you capture it using a flash card? You have to have a computer and software to do that. Now, once you captured the video, you got to go through that. Now you got to pick up pictures in the video. So you're basically quadrupling the amount of work being done if you're going to capture on real hardware. It just doesn't make any sense. If it was one person doing the project or two, yes, but it's untenable for a project of this size and magnitude. You can't do it. You can't do it. And the screenshots for 95% of the games are going to look like the N64. You won't tell the difference. So like it's not going to matter because we're using the closest look to the N64 hardware on the emulator that we can get for almost all the games. We're doing as best we can. Trust me, I thought about this more than you, sir. Trust me. When it comes to this, I want as close as accuracy as I can get.
Ray Lynn sounds like a female name. Just going to point that out.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right. Did you know Ray Lynn? I'm Ray Lynn. You look like a Jackson.
You look like a Jackson.
Okay. Next, Dan.
Hey, Pat and Ian. This is Dan from New Jersey. Just was wondering
Jersey!
if you could erase any game from your memory so it would be like you were playing it for the first time again. What game would that be? Thanks.
If you could erase any game from memory, that's not a bad question.
But not in like a negative way so that I could experience...
No. Don't say Doom 2.
No, I'm not. Killer 7. Absolutely Killer 7.
Oh.
That's easy. I would love to experience Killer 7 for the first time.
This is an interesting question because it's not just like what's a good game, what like sort of like altered your reality when you first saw it. That's why I sort of interpret it. Like what game actually sort of like made me look at games a little bit differently. Up the pork roll, Dan, by the way, in Jersey. What was a game that I first saw like really threw me for a loop? Probably had to be something when you were younger where you're like, wow, I didn't expect to see that.
You're right.
At the time. It might even be something like the first time I saw Operation Wolf. Something that like was radically different.
Really?
Where it's like, oh, seeing someone with an Uzi looking gun like shooting, like that's like I think I didn't see that before. I thought that's like totally different from something else. Then again, there was a shooting gallery, rest in peace, the Seaside Park old shooting gallery game where you shot with the light gun. Maybe that's not the right one. maybe it's like the first time I saw like a racing game, like a sit down racing game. I'm trying to remember, like that would have like blew my mind. Like Spy Hunter. Like the reason I love Spy Hunter so much is that they had the sit down Spy Hunter at Spaceport. They had the sit down one, and that blew my mind. Like, wow, you're sitting down in something, it's all around you, and you got a pedal and a brake and buttons and stuff. And I don't know, maybe I'm being stupid, but that probably is something I like to erase from my memory and go back to and experience again. I was like 4 years old though, or 5, but yeah.
It's interesting to put it that way. I also immediately thought of like, just like the story-based games that I really liked as an adult.
To experience the stories
again. To experience the stories again.
That's a good question.
I would love to know what my reaction was. And how do you experience? I guess it's a what if question. You don't need to worry about the particulars. Something like Star Wars Arcade.
I knew you were going to say that.
Something like Star Wars Arcade.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason, because that's like a good one. That's like a...
I mean, because I remember playing it with my dad when I was younger. We'd go to the arcade, and it was the sit-down one, and he taught me how to play. I remember being like 4 or 5 years old. It's one of my earliest memories, but I don't remember like my initial reaction.
Sure,
to it. But I'm sure
it would be like, oh my god!
I'm assuming it was probably
Death
a
Star.
holy shit. Yeah. That would be really cool.
That's a great question, Dan.
As time goes on, that's like my favorite piece of Star Wars anything. Just give me the arcade game.
It's pure.
Yes.
It's pure and simple. It gets a job across.
Yeah, it really gets the point across. Absolutely.
And that Return of the Jedi game stinks in the arcade.
Hey, Pat and Ian. It's Leo from Los Angeles. Big fan of the show.
Hey, Leo.
I just wanted to know, has there ever been a game that you've always wanted to play but don't because of a language barrier? Say, a game that was only released in Japan. All right, thanks a lot.
Half of the Mahjong games probably for Ian. No,
I can get through those without a language barrier, without knowing.
Some
Japanese.
of the N64 have like stories to them. We're discovering.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them do. Like it would be nice to understand that, but no. One game I've always wanted to play that I've never been able to because of the language barrier would be Sega Gaga, which was a RPG. On the Dreamcast that never made it over here. That was basically about running Sega. It was basically about running an alternate Sega, and you ran a game company and you fought monsters and stuff like that.
That sounds amazing.
It always sounded really fun. I've heard you
fought monsters. What do you have, like a mech?
I think it was like monsters and stuff, but like it was a very weird out there game. And
by Sega?
By Sega. It was by Sega. It was an official game. It's all one word, Sega Gaga. And I think I've heard from people who have played it that it's not actually all that great. But I was always.
It is all one. 2001 role-playing game.
Yeah, and it brings in like all sorts of characters that were popular at the time.
You fight the Sama de Amigo.
You fight characters from like Sega's history. It's got like some visual novel aspects to it.
No translation out there for it. No like ISO translation.
Honestly, there might be at this point, but that's just like the example that always pops to my head. I remember seeing that game in a magazine, being like, I want to play this, and we're never gonna see it.
Oh. I'll pump the N64 book more. This game called Custom Robo looked really, really fun, and it's a arena fighter with a robot, but there's like story elements or RPG stuff in it. I'm like, why did Nintendo never have that come out here? I have no idea why they didn't.
Yeah, but was it a late release? I wondered because they put it on the GameCube.
Yeah, like but that's one of those things we talk about Nintendo. Why do you sleep on these properties that would still be a little hit? Like Custom Robo comes out, I'll play that before ARMS. I'd rather play that game. To be personally, that's the fighting game I want Nintendo to make, like that. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna do ARMS. We're gonna do ARMS, and that was like a wet fart to a lot of people. Anyway, sorry. So what's next here?
Hi, Pat and Ian. I'm Giles Goddard, programmer of 1080 snowboarding and some other stuff. I'm also the CEO of Chuhai Labs in Kyoto, Japan. My question is, do you want to be in one of our future games?
Wow. Charles, well, first of all, you're royalty. You worked on N64 games, worked for Nintendo. You were Nintendo, basically second party or internal team.
Yeah.
1080 is an awesome game.
Yes. Would love to be.
Yes, we'd love to be. Yes.
Yes. That would
Thank you.
That would be lovely. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, that was internal project 1080.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
And they're putting out that new snowboarding game that looks really fucking cool.
Well, there you go. You get the pedigree.
There's a VR snowboarding game they're doing for Oculus Quest.
We're just talking about how devs listen to the show, and there you go. We're not making it up.
Hey, Pat and Ian. This is Mark from Chuhai Labs in
Hi, Mark.
Kyoto, Japan. And my question is, have you ever thought of selling all of your shit and just moving over to Japan.
Are you trying to recruit us, Mark, to work for the company? Like, what's happening here?
Potentially.
I know you got Kinsey to come out there, right?
Yeah, it's possible. You know, I could be.
Do you want me to work for the company? Mark, you are.
San Diego's expensive and kind of losing its luster.
Can I just can I sell some of my stuff, but can I keep some stuff put in storage? Is that possible? And move out there?
I'm not sure that it was an all or nothing.
Okay, I just want to make sure. But I was going to visit Japan last year. I swear to God, I was going to before the pandemic.
Oh, Bonnie and I were too.
I was.
We're doing it very soon. I think we're going to do it soon.
Can I get in on that? Can I come aboard?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see if we can pack you in our suitcase.
Okay. Put me in the overhead luggage.
Still love to do music stuff with you someday too, Mark.
Hey, Pat. This is Matt in Salisbury, Maryland. You want to make some money, right? Hear me out real quick. How about NFTs of your feed pics? Because, you know, you already got a market for them.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you. Talk about that weird cameo request.
Was that message from a dungeon? Because there was like a weird echo. There was
some Maryland dungeon.
What's up, Pat and Ian? DJ here from Dundee, Scotland, birthplace of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh.
Just looking for some game recommendations, but lesser known titles that most people wouldn't have heard of that you guys really enjoy playing. Thanks. Love the podcast.
You're Scottish, Ian. You can answer this.
I would recommend a game called Cul-de-Cept that I have not played in a long time.
Cul-de-Cept?
Cul-de-Cept. That I have not played in a long time.
Cul-de-Cept.
Cul-de-Cept. Culdecp. Yes. It's like a card. It's like Magic meets Monopoly. And it's a game that I've definitely wanted to play more of. I played the 360 version. There's a 3DS version and a PS2 version. But it's a really neat idea. What other completely weird out there games?
I can't find this game.
Try Ribbit King. Ribbit King is also very fun if you can find that for cheap.
Is it called Deceit? D-E-C-E-I-T?
No, Cul-de-Cept.
Like cul-de-sac.
C-U-L-D-E-C-E-P-T.
Oh, like it is like cul-de-sac. Okay. I can't find it. Sorry.
But I also really want to recommend Ribbit King, which is Frolf, Frog Golf. You ever go to like the the pier or the little lawn fates, and they have those rubber frogs that you have to hit the thing with the mallet, and it makes the frog jump into the bog?
Are you asking me if I know what this is?
Do you know what this is?
Are you fucking serious,
Well,
Ian?
it's a golf game that lets you do that.
Okay, I hope that was being hypothetical because I've talked about that.
I'm just making sure you're busy trying to spell cul-de-cept wrong.
First of all, it's cold-cept. There's no E. It's not colda. It's C-U-L-D-C-E-P-T. You said cold-decept.
Oh well,
not cold-cept.
End of the world.
Talking about someone they used to try to drag into spelling bees when I was in grade school, Ian, and I was too afraid.
Jeez,
because I had stage fright. You know, I would have fucking won those in 5th grade. Damn it. Then one was on my birthdays, and I started crying. Then I couldn't even do it. Jeez, sorry, man. What?
I don't know. I think that's the end of the question.
Sorry, going on. What's next here? Here we go.
Hey, Ian, Patrick, this is Tarek. My question is a two-parter. First part for Ian. With the discontinuation of PS3, Vita, and PSP stores, have you seen a major uptick in customers coming in to pick up these games? The second part is for both of you.
We'll just stop there. Okay, first question.
First part. So this is obviously from before
you're cheating, Tarek.
Before they went back on this. So would I have seen? I would have definitely seen an uptick in prices and interest in physical Vita games. Absolutely, had they gone forward with taking the store down. PSP games, that was mostly physical. Those were mostly physical games that they sold. So no, I don't think there would have been an insane increase in people trying to find those because most people have always bought PSP games physically.
With the discontinuation, I've seen PS3 games prices on the secondhand market shoot up crazy in value. Do you think these prices will maintain, or do you think the bubble will quickly pop? Thanks. Love the show.
Well, did it reverse since they announced they're going to keep it open?
We talked about it. Okay. With that, I think that those price increases for physical copies are actually more have to do with the pandemic and the overall rising prices in video games, and less to do with the PS3 shop.
Okay. Next.
Hi guys, my name is Andy, calling from Phoenix, and I have a question for each of you.
It's hot there.
Pat, you guys have talked about Virtual Boy games recently, so have you ever put any thought into putting Virtual Boy games in any of your certain guidebooks? There's obviously not enough of them for a whole book by itself, but it could be a nice bonus addendum to the N64 book, since they were released pretty close to each other, and the N64 already has so many fewer games than the other two books, or any potential future Game Boy.
Andy, do you want to kill me? Andy, you want blood? Ian knows the trials and tribulations of producing these books. He's tired of hearing about it. It's tough to put them together. I'll say this.
In fact, I removed myself from the process entirely after only one.
Yes. Jeremy Parrish is putting together a Virtual Boy book, from what I know. That'll probably have everything in it.
Yeah.
So, like, you don't need me to wedge in stuff into a console. The N64 has nothing to do with the Virtual Boy. You know, so it's like, I understand it, but it then be like, well, why don't you include, you know, this random, why don't you include Game Boy Advance with GameCube? Like, no, I get it. There's not that many games, but like, I'm sorry. It's making my head hurt even thinking about trying to add on to the process right now. Struggling to get this book done. That was the next part.
Oh. Or are there just not enough people like me who care to make it even worth your time?
Well, that's the thing, Andy. Like,
that's the thing.
That's the thing, Andy. No one cares about the Virtual Boy, but if you want it, a standalone book would make more sense from a business standpoint to do a separate book, a smaller book, you know, for like $20 with like 70 pages at most. I mean, there's only what 20 something games with including Japanese.
And for Ian, what would you say is the average ballpark amount that your store offers for a game versus what you're going to sell it for? Like 30%, 50%, whatever. I know there's going to be lots of variation in case-by-case basis, but just average ballpark. And would you say that that number is similar to other stores? Thank you.
Andy, you're a Phoenix troublemaker with these questions, I think. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I've answered this before. So the basic idea is 50% of what we would sell it for in credit. This is a little outdated. I'm going to correct that. But in general, it was 50% of what we would sell it for in credit, and then 50% of that in cash. So 25% cash, 50% credit. That's how we would look at it. That would be for your fairly basic, common, average games. We frequently would skew higher for desirable games, popular games, expensive games, something that was probably closer to, 60 to 65% of, or even 2/3 of what we would sell it for in credit, and then maybe 1/3 to even sometimes 50% of what we would sell it for in cash. It really depends. With the troubles that we've been having getting games into the store, we've been treating much more games like we would have treated the rarer type games. We're paying a lot more for stuff right now.
Do a few more here.
That's a bong.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Ian. My question to you guys is, what are your guys' thoughts on Jim Ryan reversing the shutdown on the PlayStation 3 store and PlayStation Vita store and PSP store? Honestly, I hope that he unleashes backwards compatibility of PlayStation 1 and 2 on the PS5. That would make me get the PS5. But anyways, have a good one, guys.
Well, I don't think you're going to see that happen with the PS1, PS2 stuff. But
I don't like. So again, this is old. It's great that was reversed. It's literally just kicking the can down the hallway. It's going to be a problem again at some point as long as this guy's in charge. And I hate to say it, I don't think we'll ever see that sort of backwards compatibility on a Sony system. I just don't until someone else is in charge. It's not what they care about.
All right, that's it for this. I think that's good enough.
That's good. Yeah,
that was a solid 15 minutes.
It was.
That's what we get out of that. And we'll cut it off for next week there.